Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Back to School Night. My name is Jennifer Sonlim, and I'm one of the counselors, and I'm here to kick off our counselor presentation. As you can see, our presentation is tailored to those who are in 11th and 12th grade, but everyone is welcome to attend. We hope that you'll hold your questions for after the presentation. You can join us in each of our Google Classrooms, and you can ask us your questions there, or feel free to send us an email if it's something more specific. These past 6 months have been quite a journey for all of us. I'm sure work, life, learning, social lives, everything has changed over the course of the past 6 months, not only with the pandemic, but with also the Black Lives Matter, as well as all of the fires that are burning in California right now. And we know that's a lot to handle. We are super proud of your resiliency, and we know that you will come out of this stronger. We're in this together, so we hope that you will use us and see us as a resource for your own health. On that note, we'd like you to take a break from the news. Sometimes reading about the pandemic and everything going on can be overwhelming. So turn it off. Turn all your phones off, your notifications off, and just sit and rest with not having to be connected all the time. It's also important that you take care of your body. Being healthy is really important, especially when we're at home and maybe we're not able to go out as much and exercise. To find ways that you can take care of your body is going to be really important. We want to encourage you to make time to unwind. We know that there is a lot of focus on getting your work done and completing your to-do lists and doing this, that, or the other for your classes and for school. But we hope that you will also take breaks in between and do things that you enjoy. And finally, even though we're not in school in person and you may not be seeing your friends or family as often as you were before, we hope that you'll find ways to connect with your friends and your loved ones, and that you'll be able to feel really connected to them, even if we're not together in person. So I'd like to pass it off to Miss Jody Levy, who's going to take the next couple of slides.
Hello, everybody. I am Miss Levy, and my alphabet is R-A-T through Z. And the first thing that I will be discussing tonight is the graduation requirements for John Burroughs High School. As you can see on the screen, we start with social science. Students must have 3 years of social science. They actually start in 10th grade, so no 9th graders will have social science, but 10th, 11th, and 12th graders will. They must have 4 years of English. They must have 2 years of math, which needs to include Algebra 1. If they come in taking a higher level of math, then it's assumed that they've done Algebra 1 in a previous year, and then they will take Algebra 2 possibly in their 10th grade year if they start as a geometry. They must have 2 years of science, one being a physical science and one being a biological science. Examples of a physical science would be earth and space science, or chemistry, or physics. And then biology would be your biological science, but we have other biologies as well, such as marine bio and anatomy and physiology, which can be taken after your biological science. You must have 2 years of PE. You must have a practical art of 1 year. If a student does 3 years of the same foreign language, then that will also be their practical art. So like 3 years of Spanish or 3 years of French would meet that requirement. They also must have a fine art. A fine art would be like an art class, a photography class, a video production class, choir, anything along those lines. They must have a year of health and careers. The health and careers class is usually done in 9th grade, along with the service hours that are connected to that class. They will need to have additional credits to meet 230 credits in order to graduate. So we get a lot of questions on how they would meet those electives. And so basically, if they do additional years of math or science, those would go into an academic elective, but also you have your regular electives such as cabinet or aircraft and small engines or things like that. But a total of 230 credits to graduate high school. And then 10 hours of service learning. As I mentioned earlier, that should be part of the health class, and those should be completed as a ninth grader. All right, so I mentioned a little bit about service learning hours. A lot of students are asking us right now, how am I supposed to do service learning hours with COVID-19? And what we are recommending is that they reach out to Ms. Campos, because she has opportunities to do virtual community service hours, and she has her Google Classroom, which the access code is also on the screen, and so they can get those ideas as well. If a student does more than 100 hours, by the time that they graduate, they will receive a medallion for graduation. I am now going to turn it over to Ms. Masters, and she will talk about four-year college requirements. Ms. Masters, can you please unmute yourself?
Sorry. My name's Sheila Masters, and I'm going to briefly go over this slide. These are the minimum course requirements for four-year college, which means when if your child is going to graduate from Burroughs and go right into a university, they need to meet at least this minimum. They call it A through G requirements. And you'll see where it's A is history, B is English, and so on. It's pretty much follows along with what students need to graduate from Burroughs. Some of the big differences would be more math. The colleges require 3 years, where Burroughs only requires 2. The other would be E, which is language other than English. The colleges require a minimum of 2 years of the same foreign language. And that's not a requirement to graduate from Burroughs, but that's a 4-year entrance requirement. And then one of the big things would be that you have to have a C or higher in all of these A through G requirements. So for example, English, you need 4 years of English. So every semester you need to have at least a C or higher in order to be eligible to go right into a university. Okay. So some of the options after high school, a lot of our students start out at community college. One of the great things right now is that community college is free for any high school, graduating high school student in California that's going right into community college and going full time. So that's free for 2 years, and then students would then transfer as a junior into a 4-year university. So that's an option that's great. The other would be going right into a 4-year college. Another would be going into trade school. One of the local trade schools would be LA Trade Tech, amazing school, where you would go and learn a trade such as becoming a plumber or electrician or carpentry, or there are a zillion different trades. It's a wonderful school. The other option would be an apprenticeship, which is basically you work with someone as you learn the job. The other would be going right into the workforce or going into the military. So one of the ways to kind of start looking for your child would be to do this career search. You can look by industry. You can also plug in different interests, like maybe your dream job would be a nurse or a doctor or a teacher or a high school counselor. You can type in the different careers, and then it will give you not only the career that you're talking or that you're asking about, but it will also give you different careers like kind of within that field. And then another way to start doing your search for colleges is through the College Search Big Future. There you can you can plug in different locations. Like let's say you want to go to a school in California, you could plug in and look at all of the colleges in California, or you can directly plug in different school names such as Stanford or UCLA, and it will give you a little bio of the annual cost and where it's located, and if it's a large school, small school, things like that. So those would be 2 very easy, kind of fun, easy ways to get started. So the next slide, Ms. Lisa Chung is going to take over and talk about Cal State.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Chung. I am the Academy Counselor here at Burroughs. So for CSUs, you have 23 campuses you can choose from. So seniors, you can start on your application starting October 1st. You have to submit by November 30th. I like my students to get it done by Halloween. Go finish this bad boy before you go trick-or-treating. So what do you need to get into a Cal State? You need a 2.0. In the past, you've also needed a SAT or ACT score. This year, senior class, you do not need to submit any SAT or ACT. In fact, CSUs will not use any scores for admission purposes this year. So they don't want to see the scores. If you sent them in, they're not going to use them at all. So again, CSUs start applying October 1st. Ends on November 30th. Ms. Masters mentioned that you cannot have any D's and F's, and that is true. So if you have a D here or there, you must see your counselor and discuss grade improvement with them. CSU applications are pretty easy. You just enter your grades, your classes you've taken. There's no letters of rec or an essay required. I did also include the link for you to check for minimum admissions. So you see on the screen the 6 or 7 CSUs with a little star by them traditionally have been non-impacted campuses where you can get in with a minimum GPA as long as you don't apply to an impacted or very popular major. And because CSUNs are homeschool, you also get that guarantee. So make sure you look at that link. Next, we're going to look at UCs. So UCs, the application is open now. So seniors, if you are interested, please click in and start plugging in your information now. The UCs do require 8 personal insight questions. So those you want to take a little bit of time and complete those. Same thing here for UCs. You do not need an SAT or ACT for this school year. UCs have said they will use it for consideration if you are going to submit them. So if you're a pretty good test taker, go ahead and submit it. If you don't submit it or you can't get to one, don't stress. They have said that if you do not submit one, it will not count against your application. So that's good to know. And same thing here, no D's or F's. You have to have a little bit higher GPA for UCs. The minimum's at 3.0. Important things about UCs and CSUs, fee waivers. So if you are experiencing financial difficulties, you will enter in your financial information, and for the UCs and CSUs, they will tell you if you qualify for a fee waiver. So what that means is instead of paying $70 per campus that you want to send this application to, you can get up to 4 free for the CSU system and 4 free for the UC system if you qualify. So it's a pretty easy process if you start early. Again, one CSU application can go to all 23 campuses, and one UC application can go to all 9 campuses. Does that make sense? We're good? Okay, next. Lastly, we want to touch upon community college. Ms. Master already told you the good news. It's free for 2 years. Doesn't matter if you have a gazillion dollars or if you are like the rest of us. So it is free as long as you fill out your FAFSA. And we're going to talk about timeline and things a little bit later about FAFSA. So as long as you complete your FAFSA, you are guaranteed a spot at community college for free. The good thing again about community college, like Ms. Masters mentioned, is you can transfer. So for example, for UC Irvine, you can transfer after you go to community college, hopefully for 2 years. You take a specific classes that they want you to take. You earn a 3.4 GPA for UC Irvine, and then you're guaranteed. So UC Irvine's pretty competitive to try to get in from high school. It's a 4.11, so that's above a 4.0, so that's pretty tough. But if you go to community college for 2 years, on a 3.4, you got a spot. So it's a pretty good deal for a lot of us. Okay, you guys all good? We're gonna pass it on to Mr. Trung.
Hi everyone. I am Mr. Trung, one of the counselors here. So about the SAT, okay, you sign up for the SAT at SAT.org, and you sign up for the ACT at ACT.org. And there are fee waivers for these tests for those students that qualify. So for those students that qualify, you need to send a copy of the of the letter to show that you are eligible to your counselor. As mentioned earlier by Mrs. Chung, the California State University, CSU, they will temporarily suspend the use of SAT, ACT in admission for the current seniors. So for the current seniors, if you do send in your SAT, ACT scores to the CSU, they will not use it at all in making admission decision for the current seniors. For the UC will be test optional for the fall 2021 and fall 2022. So what it means is this applies to the current seniors and juniors. So you guys, so those two groups, you guys are not required to submit the SAT or the ACT test scores. So test optional means this, okay, again, this is for UC. It means that you can choose whether or not to submit the SAT or ACT scores with your application. So if if you're unable or choose not to submit your test scores, your application will not be penalized. Your application will still receive the full consideration for admission. Okay, what about the other colleges besides the CSU and UC? Well, around the country, there's a growing number of colleges and universities that they're waiving the SAT and the ACT requirements amid the pandemic. So it's best that you check the college admission websites for those colleges that you want to apply to. Like for example, Stanford University and Harvard College, for the current seniors right now, it is test optional for the SAT and ACT. Okay. Now, so now let's talk about the FAFSA. Okay. So if you're going to college, you need to fill out the FAFSA. It is the free application for federal student aid. It's used to determine your eligibility for student financial aid. So you apply at fafsa.ed.gov. You can start applying beginning October 1st, and the deadline is March 2nd. But it's best to apply early, okay? So once October 1st come around, start to apply. If you need help in completing the FAFSA, the free workshops to assist you, you have these Cash for College workshops. They're found on this website right there. They can help you with they can also help you with the California Dream Act application, the CALI. For the Cal Grant, you don't need to worry about the GPA verification form. Our registrar will do that for you automatically. Okay. All right. Now let's look at some important deadlines. So here's the summary of the deadlines. Okay. For CSU, okay, just a quick summary here. You start applying in October 1st, and the deadline is November 30th. For UC, you can start now, but you submit it during the month of November. For FAFSA, you can start on October 1st, and deadline is March 2nd. But again, it's best to start soon after October 1st. And then for SAT, ACT, most of the colleges will want you to take it by December if they still require them, okay? For the community college, the applications are generally open year-round. So normally students will apply in December for the fall semester, for example. Again, just check the websites. All right, so I will now turn it over to Ms. Steinberg.
Thank you, Mr. Trung. Hi, everybody. My name is Jessie Steinberg. I just wanted to thank you all for being here tonight. I know that we kind of just threw a bunch of information at you and that it can feel a little overwhelming, which is why I really love this slide, because we have created this beautiful timeline. It's a little hard to see, and we didn't just create a timeline for our 12th graders. We have one for every grade level, and you can view it and print it and post it by going to our JBHS website, going to the counseling tab, scrolling down to presentations, and then you will see it under the 12th grade information. Like I said before, if you want to print it out and put it on your wall, it'll help you keep track of all of your deadlines, things like that. A bunch of stuff was already covered that is included on this timeline, so I really just want to highlight the important parts. In August, and by now hopefully everybody has received a form from us with your graduation status. For those students who are on track and ready to graduate, awesome, keep it up. I want to reiterate that it's really important for you guys to continue to work hard and keep your grades up, because as counselors, we have to send updated reports to all the colleges that you apply to. Now, if you have a few classes that you still need to make up, don't worry, your counselors should be reaching out to you hopefully by now or sometime next week to help you make up some of those classes. What you should be doing right now, hopefully you have some sort of spreadsheet created with all the colleges you wish to apply to. You can start your applications. October is a big month. The Cal States are open. At this point, if you haven't done so already, please reach out to a teacher or a counselor that you wish to write your letter of recommendation. And all of this stuff should, like Mrs. Chung said, be wrapped up around Halloween time or by the first or second week of November. I want to point out that in September, there are 4 separate dates for a virtual college fair, and you can sign up for those by visiting virtualcollegefairs.org. That is about it. In December, I don't know if we mentioned it, that's when the community colleges, you can start registering for those as well. Not to sound like a broken record here, but here are some more tips. By now, again, please organize your recommendation requests and give us at least 2 weeks to complete those so that we can really make sure that we're writing you guys the best recommendation as possible, especially since some schools are no longer considering SAT or ACT test scores. We have a brag sheet that is on our Google Classroom as well, and so that's really helpful for us when we're writing your letter of rec. And don't forget to send a thank you note to your teachers and counselors. We really spend a lot of time and effort, like I said, making sure they're written really well. And also let us know the outcome. Some of us have been working with you for 4 years. This is only my 2nd year, so I haven't been with you since you were freshmen, but we really love to hear where you guys get into school. Lastly, on this slide, once you guys apply to a college, make sure you set up an account with that college, because if you're missing anything, they're going to let you know through that portal. And so we don't want you to miss any important information or deadlines. So create that account and then make sure you check it. We have an amazing counselor that works in our College and Career Center. Her name is Mrs. Campos, and on her own Google Classroom, here's the code on the slide. She's going to list scholarship opportunities, any information about upcoming virtual college tours, things like that. So make sure that you're checking that Google Classroom. And lastly, for me, we understand that this is a really, or could be a really stressful process for a lot of students and families. And we want you to know that you're not in it alone, and we're here to help you. So with that, we have created 2 college application support sessions. The first is on October 10th, and the second is on November 14th. So you'll have an opportunity to join, ask us any questions, and hopefully we can help you complete those applications by your deadline. And now back to Mrs. Sonlim to wrap us up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Steinberg. So we wanted to also highlight for you some other resources that might be helpful throughout this year. We have college peer mentors. These are juniors and seniors who have been trained by Mr. Kuglin and the counselors to help you with your pathway through the end of high school and into the beginning of your next portion of life. So whether that's college or a job or you still don't know, these are your peers. They know what it feels like to be where you are. And so we hope that you will utilize them as a tool and a resource to you. They're on social media. So if you can please connect with them on Instagram and Twitter. That's a really good way to get more information. And if you're a senior, then hopefully you should hear from your college peer mentor in the next several weeks, and they will reach out to you directly. The counselors are on social media as well. If you're on Twitter, we'd love for you to follow us on JBHS at JBHS Guidance. If you're on Instagram, we're at JBHS Counselors. If you would like text messages instead, you can follow the instructions to get our tweets as texts, but just note that sometimes we do have several tweets a day. This is our caseloads and our contact information. As we're in this distance learning, we are trying to be available to our students and families as best as we can. You can contact us by email, by phone. Please don't hesitate. And before we wrap it up, I just want to turn it to Mr. Noop.
Hello, thank you everybody for visiting with us tonight. It's hard to take time out of your day, students and families, but I really wanted to say thank you. Please, by all means, take advantage of this team. They are fabulous and they are absolutely knowledgeable, and they can go get whatever you need resources. They're here to help whatever it is. Please visit the website to get those resources, find the contacts for everybody. We are here as a team to help you get to the next step. Please let us know how we can do that. Thank you for visiting with us.
So for those of you who have any questions or you'd like to visit our Google Classrooms, we did send emails out with the links to our Google Classrooms. Please use that to enter our rooms. We all have a short intro video that you could watch, and we will be in those rooms and in our meets live very soon. So once you're in the classroom, in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see the Google Meets link. Go ahead and click on that, and if we see you there, great. If not, please feel free to reach out to us at any time. Thank you all so much and have a great night.